Hello guys. Today the video is going to be about tips and tricks on the Mermail Atlantean deck. Yeah, but first I sold a copy of Megalo today, a secret rare. Not sure if I'm going to regret that, because I have like 3 copies max, but only 2 are secret rare and 1 is star foil. But yeah, at the moment we only need 1 in the deck, or barely 1 in the side, you know. And it's at a high price, so I thought it's a good moment to sell it. So to the lucky guy, it's coming your way. Yeah, speaking of which, I have a little eBay shop. I will put the link down below, so if you need anything. It's not much, just some spare things I have, or I pulled from the display boxes. Some old collection. I sell them usually at a fair price, like when you filter the price ranging from, you know, low to high, and the shipping cost, it's usually up there on eBay. So yeah. And speaking of which, if you don't have these cards already, I should suggest buying them now. Because the new rank 7, when it gets released for the new Mermail Atlantean support, this will be nuts. This will be really good. Okay, so on to the video. So let's start with the basics, I guess. Throughout history, the deck has functioned quite well when running like 43, 44 cards. This was usually the reason, because you didn't want to see the bricks in your deck, and there's only been a short period of time when the deck didn't run any bricks. So most of the time we usually run Lapis Dragon or Undyne, some form of brick, and still have some consistency, so that worked. And in your opening hand, you don't want to see like only 2 waters, at least 3. And 2 non-engine. Ideally only 1 engine and 4 water. I can explain this. It's just like I think most Mermail players know. That's how it functions best. So a little tip there for those who didn't know yet. Okay, on to the hand. This is our opening hand. And I'm going to show the basic combo, I guess, but I'm not going to bore you that much, because I will be using my build, so the Toadallyawesome on top of that. And throughout this combo I will show some tips and tricks. So let's start off by, if you open Swap Frog and the Mirror Mage. Some may think that's a brick. Not at all. That's actually quite good, because now you can chain block Ash. So let's say you special summon Swap Frog, discarding the mage from your hand, and you want to add Freezing Chains. You can use Swap Frog's effect here to mill another Swap Frog. And that way, if they don't pay attention and they want to ash this, thinking they can stop Freezing Chains, it's like Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. This one is buried, it's covered. They negate the mill, so that's fine, and you get Freezing Chains. Another way would be like, if they impermit, then you cannot, if you open up both, of course you get the Freezing Chains, but if you opened up like any other water and you need to send Mirror Mage from your deck to the graveyard, that's fine, then they negated that. You can still bounce it back to your hand, and that way you have another discard, so you only wasted 1 one card from your hand for blocking or baiting out a hand trap. And it's a serious threat. It's not just a weak bait, you know, because you will summon the Almany Gate Toadallyawesome, and they know that, I guess. So if they don't stop it, they might have a bigger problem. And it's a serious bait, so yeah. And when you bounce it back to your hand, you can also just normal summon it again. I think you can special summon it again as well, but it will cast more cards out of your hand, obviously. Yeah, it's a soft once per turn, so that's really cool. Let's continue. So in this case, let's say we just sent another Swap Frog. And to make our Toadally, we activate Freezing Chains, getting the Mirror Mage back. Overlay onto your first Toad. So now you're covered for nip and etc. So from here you do the usual combo, you summon Prince and you send Shadow Squad to the graveyard, and let's say they want to imperm you here. Okay, so they impert the Prince, you choose to negate, sending the Toadallyawesome, and then you can just put the Toad back in your extra deck for this combo's sake. And your Prince doesn't get negated, so you can add Dragoons to your hand. Shadow Squad special summons Pike. Pike activates, sending Dragoons. And then you get from Pike Abyss Shrine. And from Dragoons you get Moulin Glacier. Where is she? Oh. And so if you swap rock and Toad like this, no matter at which point you get interrupted or you choose to negate a hand trap, etc., you will be fine with your water count for 5. But you need to be aware of that so that you get Moulin as early as possible. Okay, now we continue. We overlay into a Bahamut Shark. Oops, forgot to use Shrine. Activate Shrine. Get Dragoons. And get... let's say we get Eyeshade Rand to our hand. Because the most other videos have shown the Teus line, so let's do this one. Now the one I'm showing now, this line where we negate a hand trap, is actually the least favorable, I guess. But later down the line you will have more space on the field, so your field doesn't get clogged. Take it or leave it. It's everything has its up and down side, I guess. So at this point you need to summon Moulin now, because you have 5 in your graveyard. Before detaching for a Toad, so that's the downside, obviously. Now we detach. Get our second Toad. And we search Minstrel. You can also search other cards at this point, like Guitar Cornards. When you summon him back later with the rank 7, you get to banish a lot of cards from the top of the deck, basically. And you can level manipulate one card, making it easy for another Toad, I guess. There are some tech choices, like at this moment. You could also go for Deepsea Art and Sun, at which point you will get to look at your opponent's hand, because when it gets added to your hand, searched via a water monster, you get to check your opponent's hand, so that's pretty nice. And later down, when you summon her back through Poseidra, you get to summon special summon 1 level 4 or lower water monster from your graveyard, which can help you make that second Bahamut Shark and Toad as well. But the downside to that is you need like 4 spaces for 3 monster zones. So yeah, I think Artisan is pretty nice for the hand knowledge and the extension, so it's not just like a gun to only extend. I might consider running that one, but not sure. I prefer to cut it down just to Minstrel. So we have the least amount of bricks in our deck. Okay, let's continue. So at this point you can special summon Rand from your hand. I see Rand by discarding Minstrel, getting a token, and now you can special summon Coral an enemy using a token. using the token and Bahamut Shark. Use a Coral's effect. Special summon Shadow Squad from the graveyard. Use Shadow Squad's effect, sending a card from your hand to the deck, to the graveyard, to make every water level 7. Now I think most know this can also be a trap. It can be a non-engine. That's really great actually. So you don't need to open all waters in your hand. Overlay these two to go in Mermail abyssgaios. Then slap that Poseidra on there. And link these two off for your Mermail King. Triggering the effect. Oh, where did I go? My high state Rand keeps on the field actually, because he used the token at Bahamut Shark for Coral. Use Poseidra's effect from the graveyard, special summoning 3 water monsters level 3 or lower. Needs to be 3 exactly, can't be up to, just the level is up to. And yeah, in this case you can also just get Swap Frog and Mage and make another Toad. And any level 3 of course alongside of it, so make a 10 and the next second Toad. And you can use Swap Frog's effect again if you like to tag some cards like Errata Newman, but I prefer not to run this brick. But you can do something there. And when you do that, you cannot summon Toad yourself, because you're also locked into special summoning monsters with 18 attack or higher. But there are some things you can do still if you prefer that, but that's not for this video. So here we use Poseidra's effect from the graveyard, special summoning 3 water monsters from the graveyard up to level 3, but it needs to be exactly 3 monsters. So we special summon these, Minstrel Shadow Squad and Arbor Shrine. The effect of Mermail King gets triggered, we get Abyss Sting to our hand, and from here we can do a couple of things. First of all, most people forget to use Minstrel's effect right here, meaning you can just mill 3 from the top of your deck and send 1 level 4 or lower water monster from your graveyard either to the bottom or the top of your deck. So you can put something back, maybe Dragoons, depends if you want to search it back with the LeVirtue Dragon, or Prince or Pike is actually pretty funny if you could do that. You will see later. So let's do the Pike. We send the Pike back. To the bottom of our deck. You could do the top actually if you ran the Torpedo XYZ here, and then you could just draw the one you just sent back on top of your deck. No, this is like a really small trick. It only matters for the cards that you discarded from your deck, basically, because otherwise you could just use the LeVirtue Dragon's ability to get something from your graveyard to your hand. So, but it's funny for those who run Torpedo, in case you do want to see something that you dropped. Let's see. So here we could special summon Trishula with these 3. That's something I really like to do actually, because I think it's better for your opponent to have less cards in their hand than for you to have more. Because the other thing is you could special summon Croco Dragon and draw 2 cards. This way you can also banish one from the graveyard you sent earlier with Moulin. But I also like to go into LeVirtue Dragon. So let's do that. It's important to overlay Deepsea Minstrel in this case, because you already have a churner on the hand, on the field. and Shadow Squad. And in this case, you use these two to go into a Synchro 10. I prefer to go into Lancia, it really depends on my deck. If you don't run any ice barriers, you could just go into Mermail, of course. So now you use Abysskeeper from the hand to special summon back Mermail abyssgaios. I prefer to summon him under the Mermail King, because now it's protected against destruction for once I mean, and you can target it. It's pretty nice. And of course with Gunmere you also have the destruction protection and the banish protection, but in case you summon Lancia. Now we use the effect of LeVirtue's dragon, attaching or detaching a Shadow Squad, attaching it to Gaios. And what you can also do is use the equip for something else, you know. And in another line with Teus, you would typically use this to get back Teus itself, to then use Minstrel and Teus to go into Synchro 10. So you could attach it to Toadallyawesome. If you attach to the Toadallyawesome before ending your turn, you want to get rid of these two. Or any water, you revive back with the equip spell and go for Mermail abyssgaios. Or in my deck, you could also go for Abysskeeper. Anything you've got. Then going turn 2. In the draw phase, standby phase, you can use Toadallyawesome's effect here to special summon a Swap Frog from your deck. And by sending Shadow Squad, you get to special summon Pike in this case. And that's actually pretty funny because you could also use this as an discard outlet to interrupt during your opponent's turn. It reminds me a bit from the old days when we had Abysssphere, you know. Yeah, and you can really go insane with this if you have the space. I mean, I'm not sure if people know. Back in the day, you had like, if you special summoned Turge first, and you had where is she? Gund in your hand. You could special summon this, go Gund, special summon Pike from your graveyard with Gund, and get from Turge you search a level 3 or lower water from your graveyard, you get Prince. And for cast with Pike you send Prince to then get Dragoons. And you have like but yeah, I guess that's not relevant anymore. Apart from the one Pike, you could do that. And with Pike you can search Marksman for a set pop, or Gunda in this case, if you didn't go with the Teus line. When anything else gets destroyed, or when you negate the monster effect or an omnigate from Toad, you can also use Swap Frog now. So the Toadallyawesome stays on the field and you have space again to special summon. Now if you didn't attach it to the Toad, you could also, let's rewind this back a bit, and you attached it to the Gaios. You can do the same thing, of course, in the turn 2, when they summon an effect monster and you want to negate it, or if they summon a bunch, then you can special summon a Pike from your deck as well. But typically you want to do this as early as possible, Depends, if you have infantry in your hand, you can pop. Yeah, I guess you know. So with Mermail abyssgaios, I think most know, when it has an XYZ material attached to itself, your opponent cannot attack with level 5 or higher monsters. But it's a bit like a trade-off, you know, when the moment you use his effect, you can negate the effects on the board from the face-up monsters from your opponent, but it will lose the attack lock. And when leaving it like this, here's where your second Poseidra comes in handy. So let's say they don't do anything to this Gaios and you didn't need to use it, you used your Omni Gates and everything else, and it's your turn, turn 3, you can slap another Poseidra on it, and you only need to detach 2, so you have 2 now still. And that all the way back from special summoning it with Sting or Gun and using LeVirtue Dragon to switch over on an XYZ material, and then yeah. So it's like when going second, you can normal summon Deepsea Diva, get the squad or any auto way to make 2 level 7s, use the effect of squad in this case, overlay them both for a Gaios, and then first you would want to use the effect of Gaios, turning off your opponent's monsters, and then slap Poseidra on top of it and use its effect to to banish 3 cards on your opponent's side of the field. So it can be spell, trap, and it's non-targetable, it's banish, it's really good. And then send 1 card from your deck, obviously. Most of the time it will be like an Atlantean infantry, or you could go dragoons if you want to start like this. After you used like an ultimate slayer or a forbidden droplet, or you know, some board breakers. So that's also pretty nice. Similarly, you can use Ice Jade Ran, special from the hand, get a token, flying token, and go into Lancia. And if they want to get rid of it, you will special summon Trishula 0. And like Poseidra, it can also banish up to 3 cards on the field, spell or trap, and it does not target. So that's also a really good board breaker. Another thing, when you open Teus and Shadow Squad, you can also chain block as Blossom by activating Teus from your hand, sending Squad, and yeah, chain link 1, chain link 2. If they ash this, they will just ash the Teus, and your Shadow Squad is safe. And it's bound to happen. I mean, most people run 3-offs of both cards. Yeah, it's also nice. Likewise, you can also chain block with Megalo, but I've already mentioned that in the other video. And get, you know, new Abyss Sting. And of your choosing, which one you want to go through, and the other one you block. You make a chain link to. Another search option for Pike is like this, and when you detach Shadow Squad from Gaios, use its effect to special summon a Pike from your deck. Use his effect to, let's say, pop a card, send infantry from your hand. Then you can search Mermail Abyss near it. It's an old card, it's basically like an honest, and in this case you could use it, let's say, for Pike, and boost Gaia's attack by 1600 I mean, and that way it's a quick effect. When it gets to resolve, might be you bait your opponent in summoning a monster that was originally had a higher attack than 2000 or 2800, and thinking they can use their effect, but now they can't. But then you need to run a semi-brick or a brick. Probably not worth it, but hey, little trick. If you manage to open up the standard combo with Deepsea Diva, you will have an additional bottle in the field, and you can make use of that by going into Coral, getting Shadow Squad back, using its effect, making everything level 7. Still doing the same, going to Gaios, and then slapping Poseidra on top of it, linking over these two, get Mermail King, use Poseidra's effect, and get your free level 3s. And your skill. But now Deepsea Diva is still a level 7, so that's, you can make a level 10 like this. And go further into your combo. In the Teus line, then it means you have a free summon left from the Sting in the decks where you do not use Ganda. So you can see you don't need to run that card actually. Because now with the equip spell you can get Gaios back and use the effect from LeVirtue Dragon, attaching Shadow Squad to Gaios. So let's say you ended on this board and have Dragoons in your hand or another water, and you have a properly summoned Toadallyawesome on the field together with an Abyssgaios, and you run Gund in your deck or you have Gund in your graveyard. There's a nice loop you can do, and yeah, so let's try it out. Turn 2, you end your turn, it's turn 2 now. During your opponent's standby phase, you can use Abyssgaios' effect, send Dragoons, adding a gun from your deck if it's still in your deck, add an infantry from your deck, and now let's say during, you could also use Upper Shrine right here, but for this interaction let's not do it. So they activate Imperm, you choose to negate that. With Toadallyawesome you could get your Gunda from your graveyard right now, but we took it from the deck, so it doesn't matter what we get now. And here's the funny interaction. The moment they get rid of this, which will be more like successful because she has target protection now, her second effect activates. You could also send an infantry from your deck to the graveyard right now to pop another card, or Dragoons to search for follow-up like a Megalo. In this case, just going for follow. And earlier we activated the Mizuchi, of course, when we searched with Abyssgaios. And the thing is, we can special summon the properly summoned Toadallyawesome back now. And we can use Shrine from the graveyard to send Gunda, draw a card, and get Deepsea back. And it can be quite annoying to get rid of that. Because when it's your turn, if this happens again, you know, you negate first, you get your gun in your hand, they get rid of this, this special summons the Toad back again, and you find a discard somewhere and you get to activate the gun, you get this back again, and it keeps on going like that. It's slow because some things are like once per turn, her effect is once per turn, I guess. Destroy it, you can send one. Yeah, she's a once per turn. So here's how to make use of infantry's additional normal summon effect. If you get to this point via the standard combo, you go with Poseidra and crawl an enemy into King. Use Poseidra's effect, send Gund. With Gund you special summon Pike. With Poseidra you special summon Abyss Shrine and where are you? Your Shadow Squad and your infantry. Now if you don't know how to get infantry, you basically search it instead of minstrel in your combo. That's it. Overlay these two for your Virtue Dragon. Overlay for LeVirtue Dragon. Detach the Shrine so you can use her later. And get Dragoons back. Now you can normal summon Dragoons thanks to infantry. Overlay again for your second Toad, and with Dragoons you can search anything. So yeah, and go from here, make the link to, etc, etc. By the way, I forgot to mention, you can also do this if you do not run the gun, if you just use the skill to get Pike back. With the Asian Deepsea King you can use Ice Age Ren or any other 2 level 2 monsters to go into Abysskeeper. And so let's say you got Hand Trap to Oblivion with you know, any other 2. The point is you get to Abysskeeper, and now on summon you get a special summon as a fish type from your hand. We make that the Asian Deepsea King. And here's where it gets interesting, I guess, what most don't know. 2 things. Abysskeeper says you can target one other fish monster to banish a card on your opponent's graveyard, any cards or a spell trap as well. For going second maybe, not sure if you want to do that. With this you probably side this out, but you know, with Harpooner or Pike. But the most cool thing is actually turn 1. It has a protection for targeting hand traps, effect fair and imperm, by sacrificing one other fish monster on the field. And this is not a fish. So it's not only to make the brick viable, but it's also, again, hand trap protection. So when you want to activate this effect to special summon the Pikes from your deck and the Harpooner, and they activate imperm, you can chain and negate it. And also for everyone that's running the fish package, you can also run, and you run 1-for-1, which most of you do, I guess. I don't like it anymore. You could run a Beautiful Princess to act as a bridge. So now with 1-for-1 you can also special summon your Pike via Beautiful Princess. When she gets summoned, she banishes herself. Then you get a Pike on the field, or you could go for Fishbook Harpooner, and with 1-for-1 you can go for Prince, obviously. So that's a little tech choice. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all the ticks and trips I got for you today. Yeah, see you on the next one. Ciao.